Hey everybody, welcome back to Champnsons and a new racing series we have here starting out, trying to rebuild Champnsons Racing from the ground up, starting with the truck series, going into NASCAR, and then we will be going into Formula One once we have been successful enough in NASCAR. Now, in this, we are starting out basically from the bottom. We have simulated up. This is our 7th season so far, not in the truck series. It's only our 2nd season in the truck series. It took us quite a while to have enough funding to have our own team. So this is kind of where we are at. Now our truck, this is our 2nd run here at Daytona with our own team. We do have Flex Seal as our sponsor. Our truck, it runs decent. The engine power is basically at 90 out of 100. So we definitely don't have the fastest truck on the track. But one good thing about super speedways and really with our track design, or truck design actually, is we've got pretty good at drafting off cars. Now this is NASCAR Heat 5, not Ignition. Mainly because I like how NASCAR Heat 5 does their career mode and being able to create the teams and everything. So that's kind of where we are at. Now this is qualifying for Daytona. Like I said, our overall engine power is 90 out of 100. So our goal for a lap track time is around 49 seconds here at Daytona Motor Speedway, a 2.5 mile track. So we are going to try to reach that. It is going to be kind of tough. So I have a feeling for this race we are going to have to do a lot of drafting. We were able to do that in the previous season that was simmed, and we finished with about, I think, a top 5 finish. So we haven't won a race yet, but we have gotten into those top positions before, and I think it's only a matter of time before we do that. Now, like I said, this is going to carry on through not only NASCAR, Xfinity, then NASCAR, but also into Formula One as we build basically a racing empire is the goal that we're going to do with this series. So here, lap number 1 of our qualifying round here at Daytona. It came in about a second too slow, so we are going to have to be watching out for that. We are going to try to get our speed up. It is going to kind of determine how we get into these turns and how we come out of them. What line do we take on the track? I'm using a controller, not a wheel, so sometimes it does get a little difficult to come around these corners, especially if we do have some tight racing going on. But we'll make the best of it. And it's just going to be a little bit of time as we build up this team essentially from the bottom is what we're doing. Now qualifying, we finished the 2 laps and we come in last place. That is not how you want to start out, but you know what? Hey, everybody's got to start somewhere. And like I said, I think if we draft properly, we can actually work our way up. It's just going to be difficult to do that without damaging the car some, but I think we definitely have the capability to kind of push that through. Now, this is originally a 250-mile race for the truck series. We are doing 50% races right now, so that would be about a total of 50 laps here at Daytona in the Next Era Energy 250. This is going to be a night race, so it should be interesting. Taking a look at the stories of the race, Clay Greenfield, he's just not pissed off at us, so hey, we'll take that for what it is. Gilliland comes in the pole, and Ancrum had some problems, and so he will actually drop all the way back to last place, which moves us up to number 31 out of 32 as we get ready to go green here in the first lap of the new season here at Daytona Motor Speedway. And we start trying to push it, and it's going to be getting that draft coming off the guys in front of us. We're going to have to get kind of pulled around this track. You know, if you think back to Talladega Nights and the old slingshot maneuver, yeah, we're going to have to pull that off more than just one time. It will be a little bit difficult, and you see us kind of getting loose in some of these turns, and that's what I'm talking about with the controller, some of this tight racing. We still have quite a pack going on here, so we shoot up around that turn, and now we've got Ancrum coming up to draft us from behind. He did have a pretty good card, just remember he failed some inspection stuff, so we had to start out at the back. As he gives us a little nudge into Majeski here at 26, and we've already moved up 3 spots to the number 28 position as we're working on it. And now Ancrum gets into the back corner panel of us on the left side, but we maintain control. pushing around here lap number 1. This has already gotten a little bit rough for us, but we kind of come through unscathed here in the 28th position after 1 lap as we get behind Harmon here in stage 1. Like I said, 50% races, so this stage 1 does have 9 laps in it, and so it will give us some time to try to make some moves. Now with the drafting team of Harmon and Ankrum, we're kind of jam-packed in the middle there here in P28, looking to kind of get a push forward going bumper to bumper. As you can see here, we got about 4 cars lined up at the bottom of this track as we come around these turns, and we hit that 3rd corner and coming around into the 4th corner over here. Now we moved up to P27, trying to keep things steady, but coming in at 183 miles per hour is faster than what we ran without any drafting. So we do get a little bit loose coming around these things with all that additional extra power. Now after a couple laps into it, we have moved up to the 27th spot. And so we're going to have to make a move to the inside here as we try to do that, but Harmon cuts us off down low. And we continue to try to push him around a little bit to slingshot ourselves off of his draft and down past him coming into these corners. So we drop back to 27th here on this back straightaway. Not really getting the push we need. We have to find ourselves some cleaner air here. As we finally do drop down and time that one just right. Harmon gets stuck, going 3 wide around turn number 3. Harmon, he's going to end up dropping back. We have Majeski right in front of us at 22nd. He's pulled us up to 24th. And Ankrum still on our tail, giving us a shove as we finally reach the top 25 as we are in P23 coming around after 3 laps of stage 1. Now the clever drafting has really worked out for us as we come here to the end of stage 2 in the final 2 laps. As we come out of turn number 2 here, we are in a top 10 position, have been just kind of getting pushed and pulled our way around this track. This is really not because of our truck. This is just because we've been able to use everybody else and their power pretty effectively to our advantage. So here in P number 6, coming into turn number 3, here trying to maintain control. We do have a little problem with that going faster than what we are normally accustomed to with our truck setup. As we come out of turn number 4, still in the 6th position. Now we got some draft from Infinger coming as he pushes us up with Gilliland, who's not really giving us much. But we're kind of forcing that draft from Gilliland as we give him a little push past Sauter here, and he's going to be down low. Sauter getting caught up high. And then we maintain down low and push Gilliland into the middle. Infinger on our tail. Freezing up front. Infinger giving us a good push. Gilliland stuck in the middle. That's not where you want to be. As we continue to move our way forward into P number 4 here. Position 4 on the final lap of stage number 1. And now we finally try to get into a battle here with Friesen for the 3rd spot. As we catch up to Austin Hill and start using his draft, we cut down below him, and he gets trapped in the 3rd, and there's some contact on the right side. Hill in the middle as we continue to push in P3. Fighting off Sauter now, and we'll claim the 3rd place finish for stage number 1. That is going to give us 8 points. That's a good way to start this race out. And shows that if we draft properly, we can, maintain some position. We can move forward. The problem is going to be if we ever get a lead, if we can actually slingshot ourselves into the lead, we're not going to have much power there for us, and it's going to be a hell of a fight to keep the guys off our tail. Now, we do not pit after stage 1. We don't really need to. So here we come into stage 2 starting immediately, and it's going to be another 9 laps here in stage 2 as we are in P3. And Friesen's in 2nd. Creed is in 1st as we catch up to Creed, and we kind of start getting a little pull off of him. Austin Hill coming up from behind us, and he's going to start trying to push us around the track a little bit. But he doesn't immediately get into our draft. He just loosens us up and kind of sends us going up and down the track. That's going to take off from our speed as Friesen and Creed start to make a little bit of space out in front of us here on this opening lap of stage number 2. Finally, Hill decides to draft with us, and he's going to give us a little bit of a shove as he's fighting off. Who is that coming around the outside of him? It looks like maybe Chastain or someone trying to come out on the outside, or Boyd, actually, I think. As Austin Hill gives us a final push coming out of turn number 4 here on lap number 1. We've actually overtaken Friesen for P2. Creed hanging out in front of us. We finally get a little bit of pull, and we'll claim P2 after 1 lap here in stage number 2. Now we're going to try to cut it down to the bottom of Creed, as we actually do, but he's going to end up pushing us back and shutting us down and cutting us off on that one. Blocks us pretty dang effectively as we kind of get stuck in his draft. Now Sauter, who is actually the one fighting for P4, comes up behind us. We try to take the middle around the outside of Creed. Sauter holding on to our draft, but we finally drop off of him a little bit. And then Creed gets into our back corner panel and almost spins us loose as we bounce up to the side against Friesen. Stuck in the middle, not where we want to be, trying to get back down low. And we finally do, coming out of turn number 4, we get back down low. And that's going to try to give us a little bit of free air as Friesen's now in second. Lap number 2 coming to the end here. We'll be in P number 3. Sauter's back on our draft, pushing us towards Creed. As we finally get a little shove, and we're going to take the down low angle coming into turn number 1 here. As we've got a lot of speed coming, and we will take over first place here after 2 laps. In P1 coming out of turn number 2. And that was a good push that we got from, who was that, Hill behind us, I think. And now Creed trying to make his move. As you see, a big group of cars riding about 3 wide behind us. And that can actually work to our advantage coming into turn number 3. As we drop it down low. And they're coming around the outside, and that's what I was talking about with that speed, as we try to slide up to get them to bump off a little bit, and we are able to do that. We cut them off in front. They're 3 wide behind us now, as we will maintain P number 1 through the 3rd lap here of stage number 2. And now we come a little bit ahead into the end of stage number 2. We got about 3 laps left, and we have dropped down to position number 2 to P2, right behind Ross Chastain there at first place. Looking to get a little bit of drafting coming up from behind us on Enfinger, and he's going to give us a push. Can we try to reclaim P number 1, and we will take the first position here, maintaining a good turnaround coming out of turn number 4, as we've got plenty of speed. Enfinger trying to cut us down on the inside, but we do not let him. We cut him off on that one, and we maintain P number 1. Coming into 2 laps remaining here in stage number 2. We're on lap 8 and 9, still in first place, trying to keep our positioning here. This is a hard fight. We definitely don't have the power that some of these other cars have, but if we can drive creatively enough and get one of them to actually basically draft behind us, whether it be Chastain or Enfinger, we can actually get some separation here. And if you look down at the little map, everybody's still jumbled up here on the back straightaway coming into turn number 3. There's not a whole lot of separation going on between any of these trucks. P number 1 coming out of turn number 4 here. No one's willing to draft. They're all trying to race us for that first place position. Coming into the little tri-oval section, we will maintain first place coming into that of the final lap of stage number 2. Almost into the wall. Take that one a little too hard. But we hold on to it, and now we come into turn number 1. Chastain trying to pass us. Enfinger trying to pass us. We cut them both off, and that's going to give us a little bit of a shove, forcing them to slow down a little bit here. Coming into out of turn number 2 and on the back straightaway. Enfinger trying to get around us, but if we could just give him to give us a little push, work together, and we could actually make some space here, but that's not what he's wanting to do. We go up to block Chastain. We come back down low to block Enfinger. Chastain's trying to push it around the outside. Coming around turn number 4, as we come out of turn number 4, Chastain is on the outside here, and he's got speed, he's got a run. No one comes drafting with us. Herbst gets behind Chastain, and we will still take second, though. Herbst gave us a run for our money on that, but we take second and 9 points from that stage finish. Now, after 2 stages, we will have to pit, claim new tires and gas. And with our pit crew not being 100% yet, we have dropped back down to P24, which really, if you played Heat 5, that is to be expected. So we got about 27 more laps here to finish this race. It is going to be intense. We are going to have to really work on our drafting to see how can we get around some of these cars. You notice they never really, separated any groups out here on this track so far in this race. And if we can keep everybody jumbled up, that'll be a little bit better way for us to kind of get moving. As we run into the back of Roosh here, check our possible damage. Not a whole lot done right there. But coming forward, Decker kind of rams us right in the back as things get a little crazy right there beside us, going 3 wide for a second, coming into turn number 3. And here they are, 3 wide once again as we try to get past Moffitt, giving Roosh a push. Coming out of turn number 4. Room is in 20th. Lassard is in 19th. We're sitting in 21st. Roosh number 18. as we get around that lap. So we've got about 2 laps down here in this stage, third and final stage, and we moved up to P21. Still racing 3 wide here, trying to keep it close. And it's one of those good things you got new tires on this setup, or else we'd be sliding up into Lassard way too violently, but we still do end up bumping him a little bit. We come out of that turn a little lazy, and we bump him just slightly on our right rear quarter panel, and we maintain control. Now Lassard, after giving us a little rubbing, decides to get behind us and start using this as a little draft partner here as we moved up into P18. Still right behind Rouge, trying to make something happen. We've got a lot of time left, but we just need to be smart, as Lassard did kind of ram our bumper a little harder than what we should, and we do have some damage back there. Now up in front of us is Cobb here in 16th place, and we cut down below Cobb, still trying to make a run, and they're gonna come down and stop us. Nemechek cutting us down and blocking us, but we at least are able to kind of take advantage of his speed and his draft capabilities. As we shoot out of turn number 2, we take the low side, and now we start to see a little bit of separation between this front 15 and the back 15. And here we are, continuing to make moves on the back straightaway down to the inside of Majeski. We're right behind Crafton. We get up on his tail, and we kind of get him a little loose, but he maintains control, thankfully, as we use him to continue to go around this track. Crafton in 10th, us in 12th. We dive down low underneath Crafton. Smith gets behind us on the draft. Now we're using Anderson in front of us. We moved up into the top 10 here after about 3 or 4 laps into this stage, third and final stage, 28 in total. And now we're still trying to hold on to the bottom. Smith is still trying to give us a push. Anderson in front of us. Boyd is going to be high on the track right now as we maintain down low. Smith behind us. We try to go 3 wide here on the back straightaway. Anderson stuck in the middle. If we can prevent him from coming down, we can work that to our advantage here. And now we get behind Gilliland down low on turn number 3. We lose a little bit of control. We get loose and kind of bump the curtain on that one. But we do maintain our control just enough as we are in P number 8 here. Boyd coming up behind to give us another little shove. Anderson in 9th. Sauter in 7th. As we continue and get around that one, as we are on the 29th lap of the full race here in Daytona with about 23 laps to go, and we get a little loose up on the high side as we drop it right back down low, but Boyd has a run off our draft, and he's going to try to maintain his position as we fold in behind Sauter here. We kind of want to use him a little bit more. I think he's got pretty good speed on this track, and if we can just kind of use him a little bit, we might be able to take advantage here and actually move up into some other positions. So now we're in P9, but we are in top 10 at least as we go 3 wide coming out of turn number 4 here. This is where things can get crazy. Gilliland stuck in the middle, and he almost loses it. Herbst in 5th as we come around in 6th. Friesen in 4th, and we'll take over 4th place from Friesen here. Ross Chastain stuck on the outside right there. Now, thanks to some crafty drafting, we have been able to advance forward just a little bit. And we have been able to slingshot ourselves into first place here as we come into the final laps of this race here at Daytona. This race under the stars of Florida. And now there's going to be a wreck behind us as someone will spin out. And that's going to cause us to go to a caution. Now this is where things are going to get rough. We are going to have it's going to be green-white checkered finish here. This is going to be interesting. Crafton is in P number 2. We are in P number 1. Austin Hill is going to be behind us in P number 3. We need him to be willing to give us a shove. And right now, coming out of the start, he is not. As we get a pretty good jump on all these cars here coming into turn number 1, as we do maintain the lead here in the first position. Coming around turn number 1, they are pushing us from behind. Hill. He's coming up, but he's not trying to get into our drafting pattern. This is full-blown racing, ladies and gentlemen. As we swing it out wide, Hill stays down low, and we drop down and block him on that one. We got about 3 rows of cars we're going to have to worry about coming into this final lap here, 52 of 53 laps. Into turn number 3, Hill still maintaining right on our tail. Every other truck is behind us, and it's going to be some crafty driving to try to pull off our first ever win here in the actual since we've taken ownership of our team. Coming around the little tri-oval section, we cross over, get the white flag. We are on the white flag here, final lap in Daytona. As we're coming into turn number 1, they're 3 wide behind us, trying to use that to our advantage. We drop down and block Austin Hill. Chastain coming around the outside. He's got a pretty good run on us, so we drop down a little bit, lose little control there, and bump into the curtain. And Chastain, Rhodes, and Sauter making a move. Hill finally decides to give us a little bit of push here as everybody starts passing us. Infinger slides into 4th place, but we take that over relatively quickly. Rhodes up top of the track in 3rd. And Hill's pushed us into Sauter as we claim 3rd place coming out of turn number 4. Here, coming into the final little tri-oval of the race, we are in P3 position. Sauter goes up high. We drop down low. Try to race for 2nd. Chastain's in 1st, and we'll claim 2nd. What a finish. Oh, my goodness. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Finish 2nd at the Next Era Energy 250 here at Daytona. That was a hell of a finish for our first race of the season and the first race of the series, everybody. Get used to stuff like that. Hopefully we can have some more great finishes. Look at that, $226,000 claimed. That's going to be a big thing for us as far as training our employees, getting a new car, getting ourselves brought up to speed, and being a team that can actually compete. Now, after the point standings, because we led so much, we got so many points from the stages, we actually have the lead in the championship series right now after 1 race. That is impressive, everybody. We actually have the lead. Never done that before in the 6 previous seasons that we've simmed, but we've got it now. We need to try to maintain it. Now, during this season, we're not going to see every race. I am going to simulate a good amount. I'll do some of the other races off camera, but we will have a pretty good chunk of the races here shown during the series, at least until we get into the NASCAR Cup Series, and we'll see how we kind of do from there. So with that in mind, everybody, I do want to remind y'all to hit the subscribe button if you have not already. And if you do like racing, then give us a thumbs up, because it really does help out the channel. And I greatly appreciate everything that y'all do for us here at Champnsons Gaming. And I hope you're excited for the new racing series here as we build the Champnsons Racing dynasty. So with that in mind, everybody, I will see y'all in the next episode. So as always, stay safe. And, well, y'all know how it goes by now, right? Later, y'all.